Jake, perched in the tree, watched in horror as the creature pursued his friends. He knew he had to do something, anything, to help. With a deep breath, he leapt from the tree, landing on the creature's back. He wrapped his arms around its neck, his muscles straining as he tried to subdue it. His heart pounded in his chest as he held on, his mind filled with the need to protect, to keep his friends safe from the unknown dangers that lurked in the forest. The beast roared, its powerful body thrashing as it tried to dislodge Jake. Lily, seeing her chance, grabbed a fallen tree limb and swung it with all her might. The branch connected with the creature's side, snapping with a sharp crack echoing through the forest. The beast howled in pain, its attention momentarily diverted. Jake let go and the creature vanished into the forest. The group was not split and lost in the forest. Jake and Lily moved together, yelling for the others lost in the shuffle, but kept moving. Meanwhile, Ethan and Mia had kept running, and now were no longer in range of the rest of the group to hear their yelling. As the first light of dawn broke through the dense canopy of the forest, Ethan and Maya found themselves at the edge of a small, sleepy town. The buildings, though distant, stood as a beacon of hope, a promise of safety and warmth after days of relentless terror. Their bodies, battered and bruised, moved almost mechanically as they stumbled forward, each step a testament to their resilience and unyielding will to survive. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long, dancing shadows around them, a stark contrast to the suffocating darkness they had left behind. Ethan's mind was a whirlwind of relief and lingering fear. He knew they weren't truly safe until they were far away from the forest and its secrets, far from the creature that had hunted them with a relentless, almost supernatural determination. He turned to Mia, her face pale and drawn, her eyes reflecting the horrors they had endured. "We need to find help," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "We can't let our guard down just yet." Amia nodded, her throat dry and her voice barely a whisper. "We stick together," she replied, her hand finding Ethan's and squeezing it tightly. They moved forward, their bond a source of strength, their shared experience a silent vow to see this through to the end. Meanwhile, Jake and Lily navigated the forest's edge, the stream they had followed leading them to a dirt road that cut through the wilderness like a lifeline. The road, though rough and seldom used, was a path back to the world they knew, a world that now seemed almost alien after their harrowing ordeal. Jake's injuries weighed heavily on him, each breath a labor, each step a battle against the pain that coursed through his body. His muscles screamed in protest, his vision occasionally swimming as he fought to stay conscious. Lily, her own strength waning, supported him, her arm around his waist, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. "We're almost there," she murmured, her voice a soothing balm to Jake's suffering. He looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude, his spirit buoyed by her unwavering support. They pressed on, the road beneath their feet a symbol of their journey, their struggle, and their will to survive. As Ethan and Mia reached the outskirts of the town, they were met by a local farmer tending to his fields. His eyes widened in surprise at the sight of the bedraggled pair, their clothes torn and their faces etched with exhaustion. He rushed to them, his voice filled with concern as he offered them water and a place to rest. Ethan, ever cautious, accepted his help, his instincts telling him they were finally safe. The farmer, sensing their need for urgency, drove them to the local clinic, where they were met by a nurse who quickly assessed their condition. The clinic was a small, white building with a red cross on the door, a beacon of hope and safety. The nurse, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a gentle touch, ushered them inside, her voice calm and reassuring. She led them to a room where they could rest and began to tend to their wounds, her hands gentle as she cleaned their injuries and wrapped them in bandages. The warmth of the clinic, the sterile smell, the quiet hum of activity, all were a stark contrast to the wilderness they had left behind. Back on the dirt road, Jake and Lily's journey took a critical turn as they heard the distant rumble of an engine. Rounding a bend, They saw a pickup truck approaching, its driver a park ranger on his daily patrol. He pulled up beside them, his eyes reflecting the shock of seeing two injured hikers in such a remote location. Without hesitation, he helped them into the truck, his voice a mix of concern and professional calm as he radioed for assistance. The ranger, a burly man with a thick beard and a deep, soothing voice, drove carefully along the rough road, his eyes flicking between the path ahead and his two passengers. Jake and Lily sat in silence, their bodies aching but their spirits determined. The truck's cabin was warm, the heater a welcome relief against the chill that had seeped into their bones. The ranger, sensing their need for reassurance, spoke softly, his words a comforting presence in the aftermath of their ordeal. As the truck bumped along the road, Jake and Lily exchanged a glance, their eyes reflecting the relief and gratitude they felt. They were alive, they were together, and they were finally on their way to safety. The forest, once a place of beauty and wonder, now seemed like a distant nightmare, its shadows and secrets receding with each passing mile. At the clinic, Ethan and Maya were treated for their injuries, the nurse's hands gentle as she worked. Ethan's body relaxed for the first time in days, the tension and fear that had been his constant companions finally beginning to ebb. He turned to Mia, his eyes reflecting the depth of their shared experience. "Wha made it?" he said, his voice a mix of awe and relief. Mia nodded, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, her heart too full for words. They had faced the unknown, the legend of the forest, and they had survived. Their bond, forged in the crucible of their ordeal, was a testament to their courage, their friendship, and their will to live. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ethan and Mia sat together in the quiet of the clinic, their bodies healing, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they were safe. They knew their journey was far from over, that the memories of their ordeal would linger, a shadow that would take time to fade. But they also knew they had each other, their bond a beacon of light in the darkness they had endured. Jake and Lily were taken to the same clinic, the ranger's truck pulling up to the entrance, as the nurse rushed out to meet them. She quickly assessed their condition, her hands gentle as she helped them inside, her voice a soothing presence as she guided them to a room where they could rest and recover. The clinic, though small, was a haven, its walls a barrier against the horrors of the forest. As the night deepened, the four friends found themselves together once more, their bodies healing, their spirits buoyed by the warmth and safety of the clinic. They sat in silence, the weight of their experience a tangible presence, their bond a testament to their survival. The nurse, sensing their need for space, left them with a soft smile, her eyes reflecting the awe and respect she felt for their resilience. In the quiet of the night, Ethan turned to his friends, his eyes reflecting the depth of their shared journey. "We face the unknown," he said, his voice steady and sure, "and we survived." Together, Mia, Jake, and Lily nodded, their eyes shimmering with unshed tears, their hearts too full for words. They had looked into the eyes of the legend, the beast of the forest, and they had emerged victorious. Their bond, forged in the heart of the wilderness, was unbreakable, a testament to their courage, their friendship, and their will to live. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, the four friends sat together, their spirits unbroken, their bond a beacon of light in the darkness they had endured. They knew their lives had changed forever, their journey a testament to the power of friendship, the strength of the human spirit, and the will to survive. And as the night deepened, they faced the future together, their hearts filled with hope, their spirits unbroken, their bond a promise of the adventures that lay ahead. But their respite was short-lived. As they sat in the quiet of the clinic, a sudden, deafening roar echoed through the night, a sound that chilled them to the bone. The creature, the beast that had hunted them, was not done with them yet. Its roar, a primal, guttural sound, seemed to shake the very foundations of the clinic, a reminder of the terror they had fled. Ethan's eyes met Maya's, a silent understanding passing between them. They had to move, and they had to move now. The nurse, her face pale with fear, rushed to them, her voice trembling as she urged them to follow her. She led them to the back of the clinic, where an old, rusted pickup truck sat parked. "Go," she said, her hands shaking as she handed Ethan the keys. "Get as far away from here as you can." They piled into the truck, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and adrenaline. Ethan turned the key in the ignition, the engine roaring to life as they sped away from the clinic, the beast's roars echoing in their wake. The road ahead was a blur, the truck's headlights cutting through the darkness as they raced towards the unknown. Behind them, the creature emerged from the forest, its massive form silhouetted against the moonlight. It let out a final, earth-shattering roar, a sound of defeat and rage, before turning back into the depths of the wilderness, its secrets once again hidden in the shadows. As the truck sped down the road, the four friends sat in silence, their bodies trembling with the aftermath of their ordeal. They knew they were not truly safe, that the beast's roar was a reminder of the terror that had hunted them. But they also knew they had each other, their bond a source of strength, their will to survive unbroken. And as the night gave way to the first light of dawn, they faced the future together, their hearts filled with hope, their spirits unbroken, their bond a promise of the adventures that lay ahead. They had faced the legend, the beast of the forest, and they had survived. Together. The road stretched out before them, a ribbon of gray cutting through the wilderness, leading them towards civilization and safety. The truck's engine hummed steadily, a comforting sound that drowned out the echoes of the beast's roars. Ethan's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white with tension. He glanced at Mia, her eyes reflecting the mix of fear and determination that mirrored his own. "We'll make it," he said, his voice steady and sure. Maya nodded, her hand reaching out to squeeze his, her touch a silent vow of their unbreakable bond. Behind them, Jake and Lily sat close together, their bodies aching but their spirits unbroken. They had faced the unknown, the legend of the forest, and they had survived. Their bond, forged in the heart of the wilderness, was a testament to their courage, their friendship, and their will to live. As the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, the truck sped on, the road ahead a symbol of their journey, their struggle, and their triumph. They had faced the beast, the legend of the forest, and they had emerged victorious. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, their hearts filled with hope, their spirits unbroken, their bond a beacon of light in the darkness they had endured. 1 year had passed since the harrowing ordeal in the wilderness, a year of healing, reflection, and rediscovery. Ethan and Mia had found solace in each other's arms, their bond deepening into a love that was as fierce as it was tender. They had moved to a small town nestled in the mountains, a place of quiet beauty and peaceful solitude, far from the shadows of the forest that had haunted their dreams. Their engagement had been a quiet affair, a private moment under the stars, a promise of a future filled with hope and light. Ethan had gotten down on one knee by the lake near their home, the water shimmering with the reflection of the moon, and Mia had said yes, her eyes filled with tears of joy. They had chosen to build a life together, a life of love, understanding, and shared dreams. But despite the love and warmth that surrounded them, there was a part of their story that remained unfinished, a chapter that lingered in the depths of their hearts. The forest, with its secrets and shadows, called to them, a siren song of unresolved questions and unanswered mysteries. They had faced the legend, the beast of the forest, and they had survived. But the question of what it was, of why it had hunted them, remained a whisper in their minds, a shadow in their hearts. It was a crisp autumn morning when they decided to return, to face the shadows of their past, and find the answers that had eluded them. The forest, once a place of terror and fear, now stood as a testament to their survival, a challenge to their courage and their love. They packed their bags with careful precision, their hands steady, their hearts filled with a mix of determination and trepidation. The journey back was a pilgrimage, a path to the heart of their fears and the core of their strength. The trail wound through the wilderness, the trees standing tall and proud, their leaves a riot of colors in the autumn light. The air was crisp and cool, the scent of pine and earth filling their senses, a stark contrast to the memories of terror that lingered in their minds. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the shadows seemed to close in around them, the echoes of their past a tangible presence. They set up camp in a clearing, the fire crackling and popping, casting a warm glow on their faces. They sat together, their hands entwined, their hearts beating in unison, a silent vow of their unbreakable bond. The next morning, they ventured to the heart of the forest, the place where their nightmare had begun. The clearing was quiet, the air still, the trees standing as silent sentinels to their past. They moved cautiously, their senses heightened, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. As they reached the center of the clearing, a sense of unease washed over them, a primal instinct warning of danger. The forest was too quiet, the usual sounds of nature replaced by an eerie silence. Ethan's hand rested on the hilt of his knife, his eyes scanning the surroundings, his instincts on high alert. Suddenly, a rustle in the underbrush caught their attention, a shadow moving amidst the trees. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they watched, their breaths held in anticipation. The shadow emerged, a figure stepping into the clearing, a man with a weathered face and kind eyes. He was a researcher, a man who had dedicated his life to the study of the forest and its secrets. He had heard their story, their tale of survival and courage, and he had been drawn to them, a kindred spirit in the search for answers. He spoke softly, his voice a mix of awe and respect, his eyes reflecting the depth of his knowledge and the weight of his discoveries. He led them to his camp, a place of learning and understanding, a sanctuary amidst the shadows. He showed them his research, his findings a testament to the mysteries of the forest, the legends and the truths that lay hidden in its depths. He spoke of the creature, the beast that had hunted them, a being of legend and lore, a guardian of the forest and its secrets. As they listened, their hearts filled with a mix of emotions, a blend of fear and understanding, awe and respect. They had faced the legend, the beast of the forest, and they had survived. They had found the answers they sought, the truths that had eluded them, and they had faced the shadows of their past with courage and love. The researchers' camp was a trove of knowledge, a sanctuary of understanding amidst the wilderness that had once been a place of terror. Maps and charts adorned the walls of his makeshift cabin, each one detailing the movements and habits of the creature that had haunted their dreams. Ethan and Mia sat by the fire, their hands clasped tightly, as the researcher unveiled the truth behind the legend. The creature you encountered is known as the Guardian. He began, his voice a soft rumble that seemed to blend with the whispers of the forest. It is said to be the protector of these woods, a being that has existed for centuries, its origins shrouded in mystery and lore. Amia leaned forward, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. "But why did it hunt us?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The researcher's gaze was steady, his eyes reflecting the depth of his understanding. "It doesn't hunt in the way we understand. It tests. It challenges those who enter its domain, seeking to understand their intentions, their strength, their heart." Ethan's grip on Maya's hand tightened, his mind racing with the implications of the researcher's words. "So, it was a test?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. The researcher nodded, his expression solemn. "A test of your courage, your bond, your will to survive. And you passed. You faced the Guardian and emerged victorious, not through strength alone, but through your unity, your love." As the weight of his words settled over them, Ethan and Mia exchanged a glance, their eyes reflecting the depth of their shared journey, the trials they had faced, and the love that had seen them through. They had faced the unknown, the legend of the forest, and they had survived, their bond forged in the crucible of their ordeal, a testament to their courage and their love. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. Ethan and Mia sat by the fire, their hearts filled with the truths they had uncovered, the shadows they had faced, and the love that had guided them through. The researcher joined them, his presence a comforting constant amidst the revelations of the day. They spoke of the forest, of its beauty and its secrets, of the guardian, and its role as the protector of the wilderness. They spoke of their fears, their triumphs, and the journey that had led them back to this place, this moment of understanding and peace. As the night deepened, they made a promise, a vow to return, to face the guardian once more, not as prey, but as equals, as survivors who had earned their place in the heart of the wilderness. They would come back not with fear in their hearts, but with respect, with understanding, with love. And as the stars twinkled in the night sky, they sat together, their spirits unbroken, their bond a beacon of light in the darkness they had endured. They knew their lives had changed forever, their journey a testament to the power of love, the strength of the human spirit, and the will to face the shadows of the past with courage and hope. The next morning, with the first light of dawn barely piercing through the dense canopy, Ethan and Mia ventured into the heart of the forest, their steps guided by a mix of determination and an inexplicable pull. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and pine, the forest alive with whispers that seemed to echo their own fears and uncertainties. The path was familiar yet alien, a paradox that mirrored their own journey. As they reached the clearing where they had first encountered the guardian, the atmosphere grew heavier, the air colder. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to reach out to them. The researcher, his eyes reflecting a mix of awe and trepidation, stood at the edge of the clearing, his voice barely above a whisper. This is where the truth lies, where the heart of the forest beats strongest. The Ethan and Maya stepped into the clearing, their hands entwined, their hearts pounding in unison. The forest was unnaturally quiet, the usual symphony of nature replaced by a suffocating silence. They stood tall, their eyes scanning the surroundings, their senses heightened, their spirits a blend of courage and lingering fear. And then it emerged. The guardian, its massive form a dark silhouette against the faint light of the dawn. It stood tall, its eyes reflecting an ancient, almost otherworldly intelligence. It did not roar, did not charge, but stood as a silent sentinel, a guardian of the forest and its secrets. The air around it seemed to shimmer, a distortion that blurred the lines between reality and myth. Ethan and Maya stood their ground, their hearts pounding with a mix of awe and dread. The guardian's presence was overwhelming, its gaze piercing through them, as if delving into the very depths of their souls. The researcher's voice was a distant murmur, his words barely registering as he spoke of respect and understanding of the creature's role as the protector of the forest. But as they stood there, the guardian's form began to shift, its edges blurring, its shape fluctuating between the physical and the ethereal. The forest around them seemed to pulse, the trees swaying gently as if in reverence. The guardian's eyes held a depth of knowledge, a wisdom that transcended time. And in that moment, Ethan and Mia felt a connection, a bond that tied them to the creature and the forest itself. The guardian raised a massive, gnarled hand, its fingers elongated and spectral. It beckoned them closer, its eyes never leaving theirs. Ethan and Mia exchanged a glance, their eyes reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. They stepped forward, their hands still clasped tightly, their bond a source of strength amidst the overwhelming presence of the guardian. As they approached, the guardian's form seemed to envelop them, its shadowy tendrils reaching out, not with malice, but with a sense of communion. The forest around them faded, the world narrowing to the space between them and the ancient being. In that moment, they felt the weight of the forest's secrets, the truths that had eluded them, and the mysteries that had drawn them back. And then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the guardian began to recede, its form dissolving into the mist, the clearing once again bathed in the faint light of the dawn. The forest seemed to exhale, the air growing lighter, the shadows retreating. Ethan and Mia stood alone, their hearts pounding, their minds racing with the implications of what they had just experienced. The researcher approached them, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and fear. "You have been marked," he said, his voice a whisper. "The Guardian has chosen you, has shown you a part of its truth. But remember, some truths are not meant to be fully understood. Some mysteries are not meant to be unraveled." As they stood in the heart of the forest, their bond unbroken, but their spirits heavy with the weight of the unknown, Ethan and Maya knew their journey was far from over. They had faced the Guardian, had felt its presence and its power, but the answers they sought remained elusive, shrouded in the enigmatic whispers of the forest.